December 1984, a 13-year-old boy in Kokomo, Indiana goes into surgery for pneumonia. The doctors remove part of his lung, and while he's on the operating table, they find something else. Ryan White has AIDS. He's a hemophiliac. The blood treatment that was supposed to keep him alive gave him HIV instead. The doctors tell his mother he has 6 months to live. But Ryan doesn't die in 6 months. He gets better. He wants to go back to school. That's when the real fight begins. This is 1985. AIDS is new, it's fatal, and nobody really understands it. Scientists know it spreads through blood, not casual contact. The CDC is clear. You can't get AIDS from sitting next to someone in class, sharing a bathroom, breathing the same air. But fear doesn't care about science. When Ryan's mother asks if he can return to Western Middle School, the answer is no. 117 parents sign a petition to keep him out. 50 teachers join them. The school superintendent bans him, officially. Ryan's family takes it to court. The case drags on for 8 months, and when a judge finally rules that Ryan has the right to go back to school, the battle doesn't end. It gets worse. On his first day back, 151 students stay home, out of 360. The school makes Ryan eat with disposable utensils. He has to use a separate bathroom. He's not allowed to take gym class. Ryan works a paper route to make a little money. People cancel their subscriptions. They think HIV can spread through newsprint. Someone yells at him on the street, "We know you're queer." Someone fires a bullet through his living room window. He's 14 years old. At church, no one will shake his hand. Ryan later said, "When we went to restaurants, people would get up and leave. Kids flattened themselves against walls when I walked by." He heard kids telling Ryan White jokes. This went on for over a year. Finally, his family couldn't take it anymore. They left Kokomo. They moved to a town called Cicero, about an hour away. Ryan enrolled at Hamilton Heights High School. On his first day, the principal and a handful of students who'd been educated about AIDS were waiting for him. They shook his hand. Ryan said he was very nervous, but for the first time in a long time, he felt like a normal kid. That's when celebrities started paying attention. Some of them appeared with Ryan once, a photo op, a public statement. It helped, it mattered. But most of them did it once and moved on. Michael Jackson didn't move on. It started with a phone call. Ryan picks up the phone one day and the voice on the other end says, "Hey, it's Michael." Michael Jackson. Ryan doesn't know why Michael called. Maybe because they're both from Indiana. Maybe because Michael read about him in the news. Either way, they talk. Movies, school, music, normal stuff.
Nice talking to you.
Okay, are you going to be coming around here anytime?
When I do, I'll for sure stop in.
Okay.
Bye, Ryan. I'll call you back, okay?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Michael calls again and again. This isn't a one-time gesture. It's a friendship, and it's not private. Here's what you need to understand. In the mid-1980s, being publicly associated with someone who had AIDS was a risk. It didn't matter what the science said. The stigma was enormous. The fear was real. Michael Jackson invited Ryan White to his home. Publicly. He didn't hide it. He didn't make it quiet. Ryan visited Neverland Ranch with his family. They spent the day together. When it was time to leave, Ryan told Michael he really wanted a photo. Michael sent someone out for a Polaroid camera. He stood next to Ryan, arm around him, smiling. That photo went public. Michael Jackson, one of the most famous people on the planet, standing next to a boy with AIDS, touching him, smiling. At a time when people wouldn't shake Ryan's hand in church. Ryan came back to Neverland after Christmas. They watched movies, ate pizza, drove around the ranch in a four-wheeler. Michael gave Ryan a watch for New Year's Eve. It chimed every hour. When they hugged goodbye, Michael said, "Never give up, do it for me." A few days later, a photo arrived in the mail, autographed, to Ryan. Michael called regularly, just to check in, just to talk. Ryan's mother, Jean, said Michael was always asking what Ryan was up to, what he was interested in, how he was feeling. She said, "Michael didn't care what race you were, what your handicap was, what disease you had. He just loved children." But it was more than that. Ryan treated Michael like a normal person, and Michael treated Ryan the same way. Jean said, "Michael told me, Nobody ever acts normal around me. Ryan knew how I wanted to be treated because that's how he wanted to be treated. That's what they gave each other. Normalcy. In a world that wouldn't let either of them have it. But there's a moment most people don't know about. One night at Neverland, Ryan sat at the dining room table with his mom, and he told her how he wanted to be buried, not in a suit and tie, Oshkosh jeans and a t-shirt. Michael was sitting with them. He said, "I have to use the bathroom." And he left the table. Years later, Michael talked about that moment. "I ran to the bathroom and I cried my eyes out, hearing this little boy telling his mother how to bury him. That hurt me. It was as if he was prepared for it." He came back to the table. He didn't say anything about it, but he never forgot. March 1990. Ryan collapses at home. He's rushed to Riley Hospital in Indianapolis. Unconscious, critical condition. The doctors say his chances are 10%. Elton John is there. He holds the phone to Ryan's ear so Michael can talk to him. Michael calls again around 1 in the morning. He's in Atlantic City. Jean tells him Ryan isn't expected to make it. Michael says he's flying to Indianapolis right away. "How long will it take you, Michael?" Jean looks at the nurse. 2 hours? The nurse shakes her head. "Michael, don't come, honey. Ryan isn't expected to last 2 hours. We know how much you love him." Michael says he'll be there in the morning. And he is. Ryan died at 7:11 a.m. on April 8, 1990. He was 18 years old. When Michael arrived, he went straight to the Whites' home in Cicero. He was devastated he hadn't made it in time. He went up to Ryan's room and sat quietly, looking at the posters, the collections, the souvenirs. In the closet was a leather jacket Michael had given him. Jean offered Michael anything he wanted as a keepsake. Michael asked her to leave the room just as it was. Outside in the front yard sat a red Mustang. Michael had given it to Ryan about a year earlier, just because he wanted to see the joy on his face. Now it was covered in flowers and Easter eggs, gifts from children who'd heard the news. Ryan's sister, Andrea, took Michael out to see it. They sat inside together. Michael turned on the CD player. "Man in the Mirror" started playing, Ryan's favorite song. Michael smiled. He knew it must have been the last song Ryan had played. 3 days after the funeral, Michael called Jean. He said, "I promised Ryan he could be in my next video, but now that he's gone, I can't put him in my video." Then he paused. "But could I do a video for him?" Jean said yes. The song was called "Gone Too Soon." Michael kept his promise. 4 months after Ryan died, Congress passed the Ryan White Comprehensive AIDS Resources Emergency Act. It's usually just called the Ryan White Care Act. It became the largest federally funded program for people living with HIV and AIDS in the United States. It's still active today. It helps around 500,000 people every year. Ryan's story changed the law. It changed how people understood AIDS. It saved lives. But before Congress acted, before the legislation, before the legacy, Michael Jackson stood next to a boy the world had turned away from. He didn't do it once for a headline. He did it over and over, publicly, unapologetically. At Ryan's funeral, more than 1,500 people showed up. Michael Jackson was one of them. He gave a eulogy. In front of everyone, he said, "Ryan White was a brave young man. He taught us all a lesson about courage and dignity." And then he said something else. He said he didn't understand why children have to suffer, why they have to die. But he said if he could be a light, if he could shine attention on who they are and why they matter, that's what he wanted to do. "I don't know how God chooses people," Michael said. "Sometimes I feel like this is my place." When Ryan died, he was wearing Oshkosh jeans, a t-shirt, and the watch Michael gave him, the one that chimed every hour. Ryan White lived 5 years longer than his doctors predicted. He didn't live them in hiding. He lived them fighting, speaking, showing up. And Michael Jackson made sure the world was watching, not because it was easy, because it mattered.